So, what really makes a school a school? It's so much more than just bricks and mortar or a pile of textbooks. A school is a living, breathing ecosystem, and every single physical thing in it, from the chair a student sits in to the ramp leading to the door, plays this absolutely crucial role in whether real learning can actually happen. So, here's our game plan. We're going to start with why the physical school matters so much. Then, we'll dive into the blueprint for managing it all. From there, we'll look at how to create spaces that work for every single learner. We'll explore what makes a school environment truly healthy. And finally, we'll get to the bottom line, what this is all really for.
All right, first up, let's really nail down this idea that a school's physical setup isn't just some background noise. It is the very foundation where opportunity is either built or it crumbles.
Think about it. We always talk about amazing teachers and a great curriculum, right? And yes, those are non-negotiable. But what about the actual tools and the spaces themselves? Because at the end of the day, a huge part of opportunity starts with something as basic as having access to the right stuff.
And this comparison here, from research by Jana and Santani, just cuts right to the chase. A computer lab. Seems simple, right? But for one student, it means getting hands-on skills for the modern world. For another, without that lab, they're already playing catch-up. This isn't just about some fancy equipment. This is about the fundamental fairness of the system.
So how do we get a handle on this?
Well, in the world of educational management, especially in places like Indonesia, there's this really smart blueprint built on two core ideas, Sarana and Prasarana. Let's start with Sarana. The easiest way to think about it is all the movable, hands-on stuff. It's the gear. It's the textbook you're holding, the laptop you're typing on, the projector screen you're looking at. These are the active tools you use to actually learn. And then you have Prasarana. Now, this is the stage where all that learning happens. It's the foundational stuff, the school building itself, the classrooms, the library. You can't just pick up the science lab and move it, right? So if Sarana is the tool, Prasarana is the workshop, and you absolutely need both to be in good shape. And managing all this stuff isn't just guesswork. There's a whole life cycle. You start with careful planning of what you need, then procurement, actually getting it. Next, you have to track everything with an inventory. And here's the key, utilization. Is it actually being used? Then comes constant maintenance to keep things from falling apart. And finally, disposal, for getting rid of old stuff responsibly. This whole loop is what keeps that school ecosystem running smoothly. So what does all this theory look like in the real world? Let's zoom in a bit and see how these ideas help create spaces that work for every student. I mean, the classroom and the library are still the heart of the school, no doubt. But how we think about them is changing so fast. It's not just about having books on shelves anymore. It's about Wi-Fi, digital databases, and flexible spaces. The very meaning of a learning resource is getting a major upgrade. We all know this image. This is the classic classroom. We've all been in one that looks pretty much just like this. But looking at it, it really makes you ask an important question. Seriously, does this one-size-fits-all model really serve every kid who walks through the door? The honest answer is no, not even close. If you want a school to work, it has to be designed for diversity from the very start. And we're not talking about a small group here. The scale is huge. Look at this number from a national survey in Indonesia. Over 350,000 children with disabilities. This isn't some fringe issue. This is a massive part of the student body, and it forces us to completely rethink what a school needs to provide. This is where Sarana becomes so critical. For a student who is visually impaired, you need things like Braille books and special computers. For a student who is hearing impaired, you need visual media. But it's the combination that matters. A student with a physical disability might need a special desk, that's the Sarana, but they also need the Prasarana of a ramp and wide doorways just to get to that desk. See? The whole system has to work together for everyone. Okay, let's zoom back out. Because when you get the physical stuff right, you're doing more than just building a functional school. You're actually creating a healthy environment in every single way. And this is where it gets really powerful. A well-kept school fosters an amazing psychological environment. Think about it. A clean, respected space sends a clear message. The people in this building matter. They are cared for.
It builds this incredible sense of belonging and respect. The physical space itself starts to communicate the school's core values. And that positive vibe rests on a very literal foundation of health and safety. Managing the prasarana correctly means things like clean water, sanitation that actually works, and buildings that are safe. It means dealing with waste properly and caring for the school's environment. This stuff isn't just a list of chores. It's how you protect the fundamental well-being of every person in that school.
So this all brings us to the big why. What's the bottom line? What's the real point of all this planning and procuring and maintaining?
Well, it really is as simple as this quote from Jana and Santani makes it out to be. The quality of a student's education is directly connected to the quality of their physical school. There's just no way around it. And once you realize that, you see that managing facilities isn't just some boring logistical task. It's way more than that. Providing the right tools, keeping the environment safe, making sure every single student has access, that's not just an administrative job. It's an educational and a moral imperative. It's how we actually deliver on the promise of education. So let's end with this thought. If a school's buildings and equipment are its hardware, then how we manage them is the software. It literally programs the soul of the institution. It decides if that school is programmed for inclusion or for exclusion, for excellence or for just getting by. And that leaves us with a pretty big question to think about. What is your school programmed to do?